You're listening to Four Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast.
Today is Wednesday, August 12th. I'm Johnny Kahner. Thanks for watching and listening to Four Things to Know today. Our top story is a tragic one. We're following tragedy in the city of Hopkins. Police have confirmed 3 people are dead, including a child. We're told this all unfolded just after 9 o'clock this morning near Tyler Avenue North and Lake Street. Our Jason Rantala was on the scene today. Here's his report from noon.
Police believe the suspect, the man, killed the woman and child before taking his own life. Police also believe all 3 are from the same family, and they believe that those involved were the daycare owners and their child. Pretty heavy police presence. The street is blocked off. I reached out to the sheriff's office. They said they are assisting in this investigation. Police haven't said what weapons are involved, but police did note a parent was dropping off a child and witnessed what was happening and called police. Police say there were 6 kids in the daycare at the time. All the children, some good news here, all the children have been reunified with their parents now.
Earlier today, police did say they were hoping to give an update this afternoon. As of this recording, that has not yet happened, but you can look for WCCO to follow that coverage and bring you the latest on our website and on air this evening. Number 2, the primary results are in. Minnesota will face a historic election this November. The North Star State is all but guaranteed to have its first female governor. Democrats chose Senator Amy Klobuchar to represent them. She took home nearly 90% of the vote. On the Republican side, House Speaker Lisa Demuth won a much tighter race with 43.4% of the vote. We actually heard from both of them after the results of the primaries were in.
You expect leaders to deliver results, not excuses. And you are rightfully tired of this partisan theater and the punchlines. I will deliver those results.
We are ready to serve Minnesota as the next administration that will respect taxpayer dollars, that will end fraud once and for all, will improve our kids' educational outcomes, and make this a place that businesses can grow.
Demuth's opponent, the Trump-endorsed Mike Lindell, said he did not think the numbers added up and that he was going to look into them and have a full report today. As of this recording, I have not seen that report yet, but if Lindell does release his own findings, we'll, of course, bring you that tonight on WCCO. Now, let's move over to the Senate race, where Democrats have chosen Lieutenant Governor and progressive Peggy Flanagan over the more moderate Representative Angie Craig. 59% of the votes went to Flanagan.
This happened because you said Minnesota is not for sale. Not now and not ever. Now, I just got off the phone with Congresswoman Craig, and she assured me that she is in this fight with us.
Flanagan will go on to face Michelle Tafoya this fall. Tafoya is the former television sports reporter who won the Republican nomination for senator. A Republican has not been elected to the U.S. Senate from Minnesota since 2002.
Minnesotans are beaten down by this fraud. $9 billion was stolen from all of us taxpayers. We're seeing test scores go down while crime goes up. We are seeing businesses flee, and our kids are unable to afford to stay. This needs to change. This has happened under career politicians, single party rule, and it's time for change.
The Secretary of State says this year saw a historic turnout for the primaries. Listen to this. For the first time in history, more than 1 million Minnesotans, or about 25% of eligible voters, cast ballots in yesterday's primary. And that brings us to number 3. I asked political reporter Esme Murphy to give you her reaction on the primaries. Here's Esme's thoughts.
So I'm sitting here upstairs in WCCO TV trying to really focus on the amazing parts of yesterday's primary, and because there were a number of them that were really remarkable. The big turnout led to some unexpected margins. Specifically, most definitively in the U.S. Senate race, Peggy Flanagan beat Angie Craig by 20 points. And maybe Peggy Flanagan's people, I'm sure, maybe saw that coming, but almost nobody else did. People had her winning, but people did not see that margin. Also, I think Lisa Demuth's victory, a decisive double-digit victory over Mike Lindell, who had been endorsed by the president. I mean, the president has not lost many endorsements. He did in that sense. Also, setting up some really interesting matches. Michelle Tafoya versus Peggy Flanagan in the fall. That's going to be really interesting. And Lisa Demuth versus Senator Amy Klobuchar. What's really interesting about this also is that there are some historical firsts that might happen and one that will happen that I think are really cool. One, the two historical firsts that might happen is we might get our first Black governor in Lisa Demuth, who is a Black woman, and then we might also get our first Native American senator in Peggy Flanagan.
Your fourth thing to know today, the city of Minneapolis is set to raise property taxes and lay off roughly 100 city workers. That's in an attempt to balance the budget for the upcoming year. The city is running on a $30 million deficit that we're told comes from a massive police overtime payout and also dropping revenue from downtown properties. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey finished outlining the latest for next year's budget in front of city staff downtown today. Adam Duxter was at that press conference and has the update.
He says he knows that these cuts are not going to be universally popular, but he says he knows they are necessary in order to balance that budget. He told us without doing anything, that budget will only continue to increase in terms of a gap, reaching $60 million shortfall numbers by 2027. So he says, well, these won't be popular decisions. They're ones that need to happen right now. Now, that budget proposal for next year totals more than $2 billion. And to pay for that, the city is proposing an 11.3% increase to property taxes, which if you're a median value homeowner, that'll cost you about $409 a year or $34 a month. It is one of the largest single-year property tax increases in some time here in the city of Minneapolis. The mayor also says they're going to plan to cut 100 positions from city government under this proposal. He says many of those positions were supported by grants, one-time funding, or temporary contracts. He also told us a minute ago that he knows many of those positions are still unfilled or are held by people who are soon to retire.
There are programs worth protecting. There are taxpayers carrying a very heavy burden. Both of those things can be true at the same time. So the job isn't to satisfy one side or the other. The job is to make the best decisions we can for the long-term health of Minneapolis. And in that, I hope we can find common ground, working together to arrive at 2 years from today.
Well, it still would need to be approved, and that has a big hand by the Minneapolis City Council.
The city of St. Paul is also facing a $26 million budget deficit. Mayor Kali Herr said systemic issues are adding to the historic deficit.
And now, here's more to know.
A person has died after a fiery crash in Bloomington this morning. The Minnesota State Patrol says just after 5:30, a driver in a minivan lost control, rolled over, and hit the bridge at Interstate 494. The patrol said the crash was fatal, but did not say how many people were in the van. The highway reopened about 2 hours after the crash. A Twin Cities high school teacher is accused of sexually abusing one of his students. 58-year-old Ted Bennett is a former English teacher at Mounds View High School. He's charged with 2 counts of criminal sexual conduct. This is in connection with the alleged abuse that occurred between October and November of last year. The victim told police they exchanged personal emails and phone numbers, and at some point the messages turned sexual in nature. Police arrested Bennett outside his home in November, and the school says he resigned the next day. If convicted, he faces up to 15 years in prison. A high-profile murder trial is set to begin in less than 4 weeks for the man accused of killing a Minnesota CEO. At a pretrial hearing yesterday, a judge confirmed Luigi Mangione's state murder trial will begin on September 8th with jury selection. The trial is expected to last 6 to 8 weeks, and the jury will be anonymous. The 28-year-old Mangione has pleaded not guilty to state and federal charges in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson back in 2024. Mangione faces life in prison if convicted. His federal trial is scheduled to begin in January. ICE officers may soon have a new tool at their disposal. A notice published this week by the Department of Homeland Security says ICE plans to spend between $10 and $20 million to purchase, quote, conductive distraction and de-escalation devices. Now, these devices they describe are gloves that can deliver painful electric shocks. The company who makes them says the devices function as a normal pair of patrol gloves until officers press a switch to activate their electrical mode. They have been used in recent years by some jails and police departments. If you're planning to see a concert this year at the Minnesota State Fair, listen up, because a major star who is set to perform is stepping away from his current tour, including a stop at the grandstand. Rod Stewart announced on Tuesday he is canceling his current tour dates. The 81-year-old singer is recovering from a routine coronary stent procedure. That's according to Stewart's team. He was set to perform on the grandstand stage on September 1st alongside Richard Marx. The last time he actually performed at the fair was all the way back, see if you can guess it, it was a long time ago, 1984. That's how long it's been. So refunds will be issued for those who have purchased tickets from eTix or the State Fair ticket office. There is not any word yet on if someone else will perform that day instead. My guess is that will definitely happen. You know, the State Fair only comes around once a year. There's not many, days to fill, but we'll certainly keep you updated. Let's get to sports. Most Vikings fans and football fans certainly thought Kyler Murray would be named the starter, but the verdict, I think, came earlier than anticipated, at least earlier than I thought it would happen. But Kyler Murray named the starting quarterback yesterday for the Minnesota Vikings, and now he's officially the team's leader. And Murray also said he thought the competition was good and fair. We heard from him after the decision.
I mean, the whole process was great. Full transparency from KO to me to JJ to everybody in the room. The competition was what it was, and it's everything I expected it to be. I didn't expect to be handed the job or anything like that. I just expected to come here and compete, and I'm very appreciative of how it was handled.
The Twins lost last night to the Baltimore Orioles. They face them again this afternoon. And ahead of our big game on Thursday, you might remember the Twins are heading out to the Field of Dreams in Dyersville, Iowa. The St. Paul Saints actually went to that same field to play some ball. They took on the Iowa Cubs. The Cubs took home the win yesterday. But of course, Minnesota fans, we have another chance to cheer on our team at that special field because tomorrow the Twins are heading into the Corn for a game against the Philadelphia Phillies. And you know who's really excited for this? WCCO's Mike Max. He's making the trip. Check this out.
I've got my bat with me, my ball, my glove, and I'm heading to Iowa, to the Field of Dreams, where the Twins will take on the Phillies and we'll be live. And we'll find out if there's something mystical in the corn.
It's time to take a breath with your Daily Bright Spot.
If you're up late tonight or very early in the morning, there's a chance you could actually see a dazzling display in the sky. A Perseid meteor shower will be visible tonight and tomorrow morning before dawn. Listen to this. There's going to be little to no moonlight, which should enhance the visibility. But however, in Minnesota, it may be tough to see tonight due to cloud cover, but the Perseid is considered the best meteor shower to watch. And your best chance to really see the show is anywhere with little to no light pollution. So head out to the cornfields, head out to Dyersville, Iowa. You might get a good look at that. That's actually going to be cool if I'm not doing much. Take a quick drive out of the cities. That might be a little fun. But yeah, you can see that tonight. Well, I'm Johnny Kahner, and this has been 4 Things to Know. We are here with the news you need every weekday afternoon by 3 o'clock. Thanks so much for joining us today, for watching us wherever you catch the show. We really appreciate it. We will, of course, have more news for you tomorrow. Have a good Wednesday night, everybody.
Listen to 4 Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.